The other day, Aaron Imholt came on the Kino Casino and he gave his version of events. Now, I turned into this program expecting to see a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of problems, a lot of contradictions, a lot of things that conflict with what we already know. But to my surprise, everything seems relatively clean from a factual standpoint, right? Aaron seems to be being very honest about his experiences there, his relationship with the Reketas, and why he left. Now, seems. Okay, like I could be wrong. There could be something we don't know anything about, but there haven't been a whole lot of red flags thus far. Listening to this interview, my thinking is that, well, there are two major things that Aaron conveniently decided not to talk about. April, who he is in the process of divorcing and potentially doesn't want to discuss in any meaningful capacity, which is actually perfectly understandable. And I think more importantly, the relationship with Kayla. To me, it was very, very obvious that Aaron's attempts at simping for Kayla, making them out to be in love with each other, was in some way meant to be manipulative. The more I thought about it, the less it made sense because, as we all know, when the hot tub stream premiered, our line of thinking, the entire Rekieta retardation community, everybody from Kino Casino to Kiwi Farms to people on this channel, like people pointed out the fact that it seemed like the couples were swinging, but like it was a gay kind of swap, like a homo swap instead of Aaron's claimed wife swap. Like that entire hot tub stream is Aaron is flirting with Nick, right? So now this isn't just being pulled out of thin air, right? We have Aaron's testimony to go off of. We have what actually happened, and we have footage of the four of them interacting together in the hot tub, completely drunk, completely wasted. But I think the hot tub clip alone demonstrates what I'm talking about. Let's take a look at that.
Oh, that's true, but
Pinks everywhere. I guess we're swinging tonight. Maybe I put it on the table. They've rejected me.
look, guys, here's the deal. There is no swinging tonight unless Nick and I get drunk enough and we decide our lips look too tasty.
It's just
So, according to Aaron, the swinging was already in full swing at this point. It started sometime in December and then continued until April left him sometime in late March. Okay, so theoretically, about 3 months of this stuff. So, this should be right in the middle of Aaron's claim that they were totally swinging guys, but just look at Kayla's face there. Just look at the comment. Like, isn't it interesting how Aaron, like, specifically says in the Kino Casino clip that, oh, Nick and I, we never made it gay. We never made it gay. And yet, somehow, when he makes a joke about gayness, well, first of all, it's not funny. I think that's the thing we all brought up the first time we saw this. But to me, this still looks like they're in the process of deciding to swing, deciding whether it's right for them. Notice how like there's no real like crossing the line on stream, even though they're both totally wasted. April's sitting there with Aaron and Kayla's with Nick. Like supposedly, right? When we they're there's swinging already. Aaron's already had a relationship with Kayla, allegedly. And yet somehow you see that look on her face, right? And Aaron said it himself, during this stream and after this stream. Kayla looks like she really hates him. And I think, going by Aaron's testimony, assuming this is true, is that the reason for this is that Nick is the one pushing for the swinging. He wants them to swing. He wants to try it. He wants to do it. And Kayla is looking at this guy with horror in her heart, knowing that her husband wants that guy to fuck her. again, like this is the big thing that like gets me about Aaron's testimony, right? The claim that he and Kayla were in love with each other, right? Like it was a high school romance right out of a teen movie. Like, look at her face. Look at what happened like immediately after that. For the next couple of weeks, like Aaron was regularly doing shows where he was talking about how he thought she hated him. Right? Like he emphasized that a lot in this hot stream. Like April and her are friends, but they, meaning Kayla and Aaron, don't get along. Now, it's true that that did change at one point in mid-February, where Aaron watched the Kino Casino clip on stream and confirmed that he sent it to Kayla, and he left a comment saying that like, oh, I think we bonded a little bit over this. And at the time, I noticed this, like I brought it up, people discussed it. At the time, I found it interesting that like Kayla actively watched clip channels like Kino Casino, but now in hindsight, considering like the dates and like how the timeline adds up, like he did not start being more emotionally involved with Kayla until mid-February. A little bit after the hot tub stream. If this is true, this shoots Aaron's story in the foot, where he claims that the wife swapping was entirely consensual and everybody involved was okay with it. The way it looks to me, going by the way like April has been seen interacting with Nick, the fact that she's still sucking his she was sucking his dick on stream until just recently, the fact that she was the quarter demon, the fact that like she was leaving steel toe shows to apparently go hang out at the Reketas. There's like at least one documented example of her not being available, waiting for Aaron at the Reketas. To me, Aaron confirmed that she was going over to their house like way before he started going there regularly in like October and November, I think he said. So what this all adds up to, I think, is that April was cheating on him already with the Reketas, right? She was already having threesomes with them. She was already like doing tons of cocaine. She already had plans of leaving Aaron, right? So that seems to be what this is hinting towards, right? Like to me, that whole story of like going to the hotel room and like the wives started making up, started making out, like it feels like a setup. Like they were trying to like lure Aaron in. Like, ooh, isn't this sexy, Aaron? Don't you want to be part of this, Aaron? Don't you want to fuck my wife, Aaron? Like, it seemed very manipulative and underhanded, and that is interesting when we take into account Aaron's version of how Kayla treated him. Kayla, according to Aaron, was an absolutely wonderful person and incredibly fun to hang out with, and they were completely in love, and it was all just an amazing time with her. Right? He still says that like he's very fond of her to this day, and that he wishes her the best, and that she leaves the evil Rekieta. Like again, this has like been a trend with Kayla for like the past several years. Is that like nobody seems willing to address the fact that she is in this situation of her own free will. That she doesn't seem that she is a grown woman and should have some agency and should have some control over her life, and that she should be reining Nick in and stopping his bullshit, right? But now that we know more about her, now that we've seen her in the hot tub stream, now that we know more of what she's like, I think it's safe to say, I am 100% certain of this, that Kayla is 100% a underhanded, manipulative cunt. And I'm not like mincing words here. Like I am 100% certain she used Aaron for her own ends. Listen to those stories Aaron told in Kino Casino. Think about them for a second. Think about like what they actually did together and what they talked about. How like she's always having these emotional breakdowns and how Aaron's always comforting her. Remember like the fixer story, go in there and fix her, right? Nick didn't want to sit there and comfort his wife after screaming at her, but he could send Aaron in to do it. To me, I think this is like the turning point, the real reason that Kayla and Aaron became close towards like the second half of like the swinging days, right? The real reason they became close is because Kayla was not getting the emotional support from her husband and sought out Aaron as a kind of replacement. And this isn't unusual behavior for her, right? Like we have documentation, Andy Worski has confirmed this, that like she did similar things in Knoxville, right? She is very touchy-feely, she's very friendly, she's very sexually active. Like she is a turbo thought. It's possible that Kayla may have slept with Aaron because Nick wanted it, right? Nick wanted Kayla out of his line of sight for a couple of hours so he could go bang April instead, right? It's possible Kayla like fucked Aaron a couple of times. In fact, I would say it's likely, but not to the extent that he claimed. 4 or 5 times a week. You know, like about 100 times over a period of like less than 2 months. I don't think so. Like it just doesn't add up, right? With what we know of the situation and how things ended. Like if Kayla was so adamantly like pro Aaron, right? If she loved you that much, why did she not like try and do more to get you to stay, right? Why did she not like? Why does she not want to see you again? Why are you like so certain the relationship is over? Because it's not actually true, right? To me, and I think what Aaron is trying to do by emphasizing this somewhat intimate relationship with Kayla is trying to get under Nick's skin and trying to antagonize him, right? Like I think to a certain extent that it is true. Like I do believe like the polycule existed at one point, but like not for nearly the length of time that Aaron implied it did. Like I think April was there before and after Aaron joined the group. There are two major incidents from the hot tub stream that make me think that, right? That uh, Aaron was already at this stage kind of being cut out from the others. Well, first of all, actually three, because if you actually watch the hot tub stream, you can kind of tell that April is like sitting away from Aaron. She's sitting closer to Kayla, like she's already closer to her than her own husband, right? It's very conspicuous. Second of all, there's that comment that April makes. This is an out of nowhere comment that a lot of people just kind of like wrote off as a stupid joke, right? Oh, is this a sister wife situation? The According to ChatGPT, I did look this up. A sister wife is defined as two or more women who are like married to the same man, essentially implying that they're she's already like more committed to Rekieta than to Aaron, right? Again, they're all drunk and nothing they're saying makes any sense. So again, this is just a bit of an outlier. But you also see this little bit where Nick leans into the camera, right? We all know this, right? Nick leans into the camera. Aaron grabs forward and grabs his ass, right? He does something. Nick flips out. He asks who it was. And the way he acts, like he assumed it was April who did it, right? As if they were already like in that situation, right? But no, it wasn't her. It was Aaron, right? So like to me, first of all, like what does this indicate really, right? You can tell, like watching like Nick, Kayla, April, that like they're all making like jokes about swinging specifically, but like Aaron is the one who's making it unbelievably gay, right? He's the one who's always coming in talking about like, oh, him and Nick doing stuff and doing this and stuff like that. And like it's just read the room. You are the fourth wheel on like a three tired machine, okay? Like you are not you are not winning the situation. It says a lot about like Nick's like incompetence and like just how badly he bungled this whole situation that like he somehow cucked a guy, stole his wife from him, and still somehow took an L. That's the weird thing about this is that Aaron has the entire internet right now convinced somehow that that like he's the good guy in this situation. Oh, I left the drugs and the sex behind of my own free will, even though I was in love with Kayla and I loved her kids and I did so much for them. Like it's all a load of crap to try and make himself look like the good guy, right? That's what he's doing right now. Is like going out on all these shows, giving all these interviews about his experiences there, and people are still listening to him, right? And not without reason, because of course he has like a unique insider perspective, but I do think that there are like lots of gaps in his story. And I do think that, like, first of all, he's trying to make himself look more innocent than what he believes, than what he claims. But I do think there's going to be like major holes poked in the story eventually. Like, and I do think the person who is going to come out and dismiss all of this is April. April is the person who knows the situation the best, knows Aaron's mindset, knows the situation he was in. I would say that like the instant like she is absolved of all doubt, like of all like responsibility, like when it comes to like the Rekieta household thing. If she like gets off of her charges or whatever, like I imagine she's going to be coming after after Aaron, and it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be great, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this smug motherfucker get what's coming to him, because I cannot stand how he's like manipulated the situation for his own benefit. We've talked a lot about how like the conservatives are like, damage controlling for Nick. We've talked about like Dick Masterson and Vito and those guys, all of LawTube. Like we've talked about that, but like Aaron, I think, is the most shameless and embarrassing out of all of them. Not only was he aware of Rekieta's degeneracy, he was there. He was enabling it. He was supporting it until the point that they straight up kicked him out because he was such a loser. Right? Like, Nick didn't want you around. April didn't want you around. Kayla didn't want you around, clearly. Like, the reality of the situation is no matter what Aaron may be telling people, he absolutely took a massive L.